That's the camera. Gotta look there, not there. What's up? Welcome back. So today I want to go over some of the individual jobs of a private military contractor and dispel some of the myths. Because if you get on the YouTubes, you put in private military contractor, private security contractor, what have you, you're going to get you're not going to get that many videos at all, but a lot of videos that you get are not going to be completely true. A lot of them are going to be from a journalist that has never been in the job, and they're just lying about stuff. Anyways, let's get with the video. So we're going to go over some of the jobs individually. I'm not going to go over any TTPs. I'm not going to go over anything that would ever compromise anybody that's out in the field right now. That would be really shitty of me, actually. So we're not going to go over any TTPs or anything. We're just going to go over basic jobs, okay? Because everybody seems to think that in this job you're like some CIA spook going out there and murking people left and right, and just not the job, okay? So we're going to use a basic 3-vehicle convoy. Why? Because that's the easiest to explain stuff. That's it. Your convoys can be anywhere from 1 vehicle to 14 vehicles. It doesn't matter. This is going to be the regular 3-vehicle convoy. Okay. So on this side, we have a 3-vehicle convoy. The most important person is going to be the principal. Okay? The principal. Or let's say this is a president's motorcade. The president, right? He's going to be in the middle. He's going to be surrounded by everybody protecting him. Okay? The principal. The next person in this vehicle is going to be the AIC, the agent in charge. Okay? For our job, that was usually a State Department geek who went to college for 4 years and now think they know things. More than likely they don't, but they think they're in charge. Whatever. All right? Then you're going to have your shift lead. Okay? He's in the rear. If you know anything about the military, the leader is usually in the back. That way he can tell people what to do and where to go. And he can see the whole battlefield. Okay? From there, you're going to have the assistant shift lead. Okay? He's going to be in the lead vehicle. Why? Because his number one job is navigation. He's going to get us to and from wherever we need to go. Whether that be the primary route, the alternate route, the contingency route, or the emergency route, it doesn't matter. His job is to know that route back and forth, front and back, all of it, okay? From there, we have the limo driver, okay? The limo driver is usually the best driver out of everybody because he's got the principal. The limo driver is a very interesting job because if you put on the brakes a little too hard or push the gas a little too much, this person here is usually going to bitch about it and then you get fired. So this dude's pretty important, okay? From there, we have a driver here, we have a driver here. Obviously, this driver is going to know the routes very well. Okay, this guy here is going to help the shift lead with a few little things. The most important thing here is drivers drive. Drivers do not operate the radio unless they absolutely have to. Drivers don't shoot people out the window. Drivers don't do none of that. Drivers drive, okay? You'll hear certain people say that if you're in the community. This is what they do. They don't do anything else. They fucking drive. That's it. You don't bother them, okay? That's their vehicle. They're in charge of the vehicle. If you get some shit out of the back of the vehicle, you let them know and put it back where it belongs, all that stuff, right? Drivers drive and drivers own the vehicle. From there, okay? You can have an extra dude up here, right? You may have a couple extra people in here depending on the size of the limo, what kind of limo you have. If the principal has people with them, you can get a whole other vehicle in here that's just full of fucking people, right? But that doesn't really matter, okay? Because more than likely, this is just going to be another window licker, right? You're going to have a whole bunch of people with the principal. You'll definitely have a guy in there, but kind of depends who, right? From here, these jobs, they're called window lickers. Why are they called window lickers? Because the seats do not face forward. They face sideways. So these dudes are looking out this way. That way they get this field of view like that. Okay? These guys are looking out front. These guys are looking out to the side. I'll let you go ahead and think about what they might possibly be looking at and blah, 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 blah. I'm just telling you, the seats are sideways and you got the window right there. That's why you're called a window licker. Same with this guy back here. Depending on what vehicles you have, whether you're high pro, low pro, anything like that, you may or may not have what they call a trunk monkey. A trunk monkey is exactly what you think it is. It is a dude back there with a machine gun looking that way, okay? His job is to make sure nobody creeps up on us from the rear, right? Depending if this may be a turret, right? You may have turrets here. It all depends on the vehicles and stuff like that, right? Some vehicles you won't be able to have a trunk monkey, so these guys here, the window lickers, are going to be designated to look all the way around like this, okay? Which kind of sucks for them, but it is what it is, right? Those are your basic jobs, all right? You also got to remember, depending on your team, one of these dudes might be your DDM. Your designated marksman, i.e. your sniper, okay? One of these dudes is definitely going to be your medic, your doc, all right? And then different dudes are going to have different jobs from out there, okay? Over here, let's talk about this. Let's say this is your CAT team. CAT stands for Counter Assault Team, all right? It is comprised of, depending on the vehicle, 4 to 10 dudes, depending on the vehicle, right? Their whole job, if you're driving, they're going to be in the area. Maybe they're way behind you. Maybe they're on the side of you. Maybe they're waiting and watching you drive by. Their whole job in life is to, if you need help, they're going to come help you. Whatever that help may be. Whether it's smoking bad guys, whether it's changing tires, whether it's pulling security, whatever it may be, okay? These guys are really close to the same as these guys, the hate team. Hasty assault team element. Because you're going to bring the hate, right? These dudes, if we ever get in contact, these dudes are coming up and they're going to rescue us. Okay, again, comprised of, depending on the vehicle, 4, 10, 15 dudes. You could have 2 cars in the hate team, you could have 2 cars in the cat team, whatever. All right, so that's their whole job. Come save us. All right? They are like your reinforcements, basically, your QRF. Up here, you're going to have your advanced team. Your advanced team normally comprises your assistant team leader or assistant shift lead, your DDM, those are 2 main dudes, and then you're going to have a couple other guys. They're going to be in advance. The advance, they do exactly like it says they do. They're going to go to the venue in advance. They're going to plot routes. They're going to check out the venue. They're going to know all the exits. They're going to know everything you can think of that you would need to know. Let's say you were taking the president to a building. What do you think you need to know? I'll let you think about that. That's what these guys do, okay? Anywhere from a week to 3 days to 24 hours in advance. Sometimes a couple hours in advance. And then what they're going to do is they're going to put together a packet. They're going to brief the entire team, right? And that's about it. As far as who's in charge of all this, right? Like I said, this dork, the AIC, he thinks he's in charge. He's not. He's not in charge. This dude here, the shift lead, that dude is in charge.
You're in my world now.
Okay? That dude is like your team leader, right? He's going to be the one in charge of everybody. He's the one that tells everybody what to do. This is like your lieutenant. They're real young. They're real fucking stupid. They don't really know what's going on, but they like to talk on the radio for whatever reason. This dude's in charge. He's your senior NCO, if you will. Okay? He's going to be telling everybody what to do, whether that be to drive through an ambush, to do a J-turn, to, tell everybody to go ahead and get the vehicles ready because the principals get ready to come out. All that stuff. He's going to be the one kind of directing traffic there. You're going to have leaders in your cat and hay team. Your advance is going to be your assistant shift leader. He's going to be the one that's there. Your limo driver may or may not be with the advance because, again, he's got to know what's going on. This driver is usually this guy. All right? So these are your basic jobs. From there, obviously, you have, your teams, and then you have a hierarchy, right? All the way to, like, the project manager, okay? Right now, if you are just getting into this, you are down here, okay? Way down. Project manager, you way down there, okay? And you have lines, and there's a hierarchy. You do not need to know about any of that. Why? Because you are down here. You're not going to be a project manager for a long time, all right? What does it take to get in these certain positions? Well, you're more likely going to either start out as a trunk monkey or a window licker, depending on your background and honestly, like the size you are. Like, I could never be a trunk monkey because I'm a bigger dude, right? I just don't fit. So, you're going to work your way up. If you used to be a sniper or you used to be a medic, you might be one of these dudes, right? You can go from a window licker to a driver usually, depending on how good of a driver you are. It'll take a while to get there. Usually drivers like to drive. From there, you're going to go to the assistant shift lead, right? Usually you'll move teams and you'll go to assistant shift leader over there. And that's going to be after a year or two, depending on your resume, to get up there, because you have to show proficiency in doing basically all these jobs, right? Putting together your packets, all that stuff. And that's going to show the project manager whether they think that you're going to be able to lead people. From there, going to be a shift lead. Oh, that was weird. The most senior guy on the team, obviously you're not going to get there for a few years, okay? Again, that's your basic. These guys here, you can always, let's say all these teams are full, they'll throw you over to one of these guys. From there, you'll do a whole bunch of weapons and ambush training, things like that. Let's see. You might get thrown on the advanced team, especially as a brand new guy, only because they want you to get to know the routes. They want you to know the venues, things like that. You will not talk to the principal ever. And that's about it. As far as what happens when you are on the ground walking around the principal, I'm not going to go into that because those are TTPs or tactics, techniques, and procedures. And I will not talk about that because I don't want to compromise any of the dudes that are actually overseas doing this job right now. All right, let's dispel some myths. Myth number uno, contractors are mercenaries. Couldn't be any further from the truth. These dudes are overpaid bodyguards. The only time they ever actually do anything or get into anything or get into shit or whatever you want to call it is if somebody messes with these guys. If you're on a convoy and you get ambushed, obviously you have to protect your principal. That's about the only time. If you're walking with the principal and you get pop shot, you gotta, protect the principal. That's it. I don't want to say never. I'm just saying when I was working, I never once got told, go out and kill these people. Never. It never happened. We actually have a saying in the teams that they tell you from day one is every bullet has a lawyer attached to it. Because if something does happen and something does go wrong, you are gonna, have to do all the shitty things that you're gonna have to do. Myth number 2, you make all kinds of money and you're like a millionaire. Yes and no. All right. I remember when I got told how much I was getting paid, I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my God, I am going to be so rich. Because I'd never made that much money before. I got on contract, and the checks are not what you think they are. And you're like, why? And then they say, oh, that's because you're getting U.S. and Afghani taxes taken out. And you have to deal with that shit during tax season. So that sucked. And then you work for 110 days, you come back for 35, then you go back for 110. Those 35 days you're home, you do not get paid at all, period. Why? Because you weren't working. So I know a lot of dudes who got into some trouble because they didn't put back any money, came home for 35 days, all of a sudden they're missing 2 paychecks, and they're like, oh shit. And when your paychecks are, we'll just say, north of $4 to $5 grand every 2 weeks, and you're blowing it that fast, it's kind of like, oh shit. Contractors are arrogant assholes. Yeah, no, that's a good one. No, yeah, I think, yeah, can't argue that. We are arrogant, we are assholes, but for good reason. Contractors look like they just walked out of an REI store. Yeah, that's pretty much spot on. If you are a contractor, you can spot another one from a fucking mile away, like in Dubai. You're like, oh, look at that fucking guy. Because they wear the same shit on contract as they do going home, especially the static guys. And I don't know why, but those dudes are like decked out in their 511 and Oakleys and all this other shit. And it's like, why? Got me. But I stand there carrying the fucking backpack with all the fucking patches and shit on it. Yeah, whatever. Most dudes you're gonna find, especially in this day and age, are a lot smarter than you think they are. They're not the old school grunt that doesn't know anything. A lot of dudes are college educated. A lot of dudes are a lot more educated when it comes to worldly views and things like that. And you're gonna have everybody from like an everyday grunt to SEAL teams, Delta Force, all that stuff. So if you got any questions, drop them below. That's about it. And remember, always ask yourself, are you an asset or a liability? Lovely. Oh, okay. Good girl. Good girl. All right, please.